Ever feel like you're already running a marathon in your head before your feet even hit the floor? Like your brain's already buzzing with this giant to-do list
Yeah.
before you even really wake up?
Yeah, that's incredibly common, I think. I mean, right. We're just bombarded with stuff the second we open our eyes these days.
It's true. Welcome back to Zoll Podcast.
Shooting the reality.
I'm James Carroll.
I'm Emily Laura.
We're going deep on something that might sound a little counterintuitive, but honestly, it could be the key to having like a way smoother, more productive, maybe even happier day. We're talking about planning your day the night before.
You might be thinking, wait, nighttime is when I'm supposed to be, like, winding down, not thinking about all that.
Forgetting about my responsibilities, yeah.
Right. But the research is pretty interesting. Stick with us, because what we found suggests that just a few minutes of, like, prep before bed can really have this ripple effect across your whole day.
I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical too. But after looking through these articles on productivity and time management,
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the light.
What's really cool here is that planning your day the night before doesn't just help you get more done.
Right.
It actually helps you stress less
Okay.
and even sleep better.
Okay, that's the part I need you to explain. How does planning help me sleep better? Isn't that what I'm supposed to be like, turning my brain off?
Well, think about those nights when you're lying in bed and your mind's just racing with everything you've got to do the next day.
Ugh. Yeah.
That's like anticipatory anxiety, basically, and it's a total sleep killer. Planning helps by, like, getting those worries out of your head and onto paper or, a digital to-do list or whatever.
Oh.
You're giving your brain permission to chill out because it knows there's a system in place for tomorrow.
So instead of my brain trying to solve all of life's problems at 3 a.m., I can rest easy, knowing it's all laid out in my plan.
Exactly. It's about using your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that handles logic and planning and all that. You're tapping into that when it's at its best, not when you're all groggy and rushed in the morning. Right. That makes total sense. And a bunch of these articles mention that reducing those, like, in-the-moment emotional decisions is a big part of this, too.
If you think back to times you had to make decisions when you were tired or stressed, those probably weren't your best moments, right?
Definitely not. And now that you mention it, I can see how planning the night before could help me dodge those avoid at all costs tasks that always seem to pile up when I just, like, let my emotions run the show.
It's about setting yourself up for intentional action. You wake up knowing what needs to get done when, and you're way less likely to waste time and energy figuring out where to start
Right.
or getting sidetracked by, less important things.
So one of the sources, this Productive Bros article, talked about using the Eisenhower matrix to help with prioritizing tasks. Can you break that down a bit?
Oh, absolutely. The Eisenhower matrix is this classic time management tool. It's all about putting tasks into categories based on how urgent and important they are.
So you can really zero in on the stuff that actually moves the needle forward instead of getting bogged down with things that are urgent but not really important.
So it's not just about making to-do lists. It's about being way more strategic
Yes.
and making smart choices about how I use my time.
Right. And planning isn't about making this rigid schedule that you absolutely have to stick to.
Okay.
Life happens, things pop up, you have to be able to adjust.
This is where I always get tripped up. What if I plan out my day and then, boom, something unexpected comes up? Does that mean my plan's useless?
Not at all. A good plan's more like a roadmap than a set of handcuffs, right? It gives you direction and a starting point. Like, you've got the route mapped out, but you're also totally prepared to take a detour if you need to.
So it's more about the framework, the general direction.
Yeah.
And not about sticking to a minute-by-minute schedule.
Exactly. One of the articles actually highlighted this technique that athletes and performers use called visualization.
Visualization. I have to say, that sounds a little woo-woo to me. How does that fit in with planning?
I get it, but it's more practical than you might think. Basically, you take a few minutes to, like, mentally rehearse your day, see yourself finishing tasks and feeling good about it. It helps you build confidence and reduces the stress that comes with tricky tasks.
So it's like giving my brain a sneak peek of success, which then makes it more likely to happen in reality.
Precisely. It's like priming your mind for peak performance.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. But what about those of us who, really struggle to switch off at night? Won't planning my day just keep me thinking about work even longer?
That's a really good point. It's super important to create a clear separation between work time and wind down time. And one of the biggest things you can do is disconnect from your devices at least an hour before bed.
Yeah, a few of the articles talked about that, especially how the blue light from screens messes with our sleep.
Right, that blue light messes with melatonin production. which is the hormone that regulates sleep.
So no more scrolling through social media in bed.
It's not ideal for good sleep, that's for sure. Try swapping that for something relaxing, like reading or listening to music,
Okay.
maybe taking a bath.
So it's not just work productivity tips. It's like a whole approach to well-being.
Absolutely. It's about setting yourself up for success in all areas of your life.
Right.
You'd be surprised what a difference the little things can make. One article even suggested picking out your outfit the night before.
Oh, tell me about it. I can waste so much time in the morning staring at my closet.
Exactly. You free up so much mental space for the important things, like focusing on your biggest tasks or just enjoying your coffee without feeling rushed.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, you've convinced me. So we've got planning our day, disconnecting from screens, and putting sleep first as part of our nighttime routine. What about when we actually wake up? What can we do to really maximize productivity once the day begins?
You know, you were talking about that decision fatigue with your clothes.
Yeah.
Mornings are prime time for that, so the less we have to scramble, the better.
So I should lay out my breakfast too. I'm kidding. But where do we start once we're actually up?
You know, breakfast is a good place to start.
Okay.
A lot of the articles mentioned the connection between what we eat and how our brains work.
Oh, interesting.
It's not just about filling your stomach.
Right.
It's about giving your brain the fuel it needs for the day.
So my usual bowl of sugary cereal isn't going to cut it.
Probably not. You need brain food, not just a quick energy burst.
Right. Okay. What are some brain-boosting breakfast options?
Well, eggs with avocado and whole grain toast.
Okay.
Or a smoothie with Greek yogurt, berries, spinach.
That sounds good.
That'll give you a much better start.
Those sound delicious and honestly way more satisfying than my usual bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
I'm sensing a theme here. It's all about being intentional with our choices, like whether it's what we eat or how we plan our day.
You got it. And that intentionality goes for staying hydrated, too.
Oh.
Even being a little dehydrated can make you feel foggy and tired.
Yeah.
So make sure you're drinking water throughout the day.
Okay, so we've got our evening routine down. Planning, disconnecting from screens, prioritizing sleep. We've got our morning routine sorted. Brain-boosting breakfast, hydration, and tackling those important tasks first.
Yep.
Is there anything else we can do to really maximize our productivity?
One of the articles mentioned this really interesting psychological thing called the Zeigarnik effect.
The Zeigarnik effect.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you've got my attention. What is that?
Basically, it says our brains tend to remember unfinished tasks way more clearly than completed ones.
Oh, so that's why I can never get those nagging to-dos out of my head, even when I'm trying to relax.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting part. We can actually use this to our advantage.
Really?
By leaving a task kind of unfinished the night before,
Okay.
we can basically prime our brains to jump right back into it the next morning.
Wait, so instead of trying to finish everything up before bed, it's actually better to, stop mid-task and pick it up again the next day?
Exactly. Like, let's say you're working on a presentation.
Mhm.
Instead of pushing to finish it late at night, stop right before a natural break point.
Oh, okay.
Maybe right before starting a new section.
So when I sit down to work the next morning,
Yeah.
my brain will be all set to dive right back into that presentation. I like this.
Yeah, it's like giving your brain a head start. It also helps avoid that, feeling of inertia we often get when we start a new day.
Right, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
So by strategically leaving a task unfinished, we can kind of trick our brains into being more motivated to complete it.
Yeah.
Like we're setting ourselves up for a flow state from the get-go. Speaking of flow state, distractions are a major productivity killer. Any tips on how to minimize those?
Well, one source really stressed having a dedicated workspace,
Okay.
a place where you can just focus without being interrupted. So that might mean physically separating yourself from distractions.
Okay.
Or just creating a mental space where you can tune out the noise.
So turn off notifications, put my phone on silent,
Yep.
and let everyone know I'm not to be disturbed. Easier said than done these days.
I know.
But essential if I actually want to get work done.
Definitely. But it's not just about external distractions, right?
Yeah.
Our own minds can be our worst enemies when it comes to focus.
Oh, yeah. I can totally get lost in my own thoughts and random ideas.
And that's where mindfulness techniques can help, like meditation.
Meditation, I always thought that was more of a relaxation thing or a spiritual practice.
Right.
How does that tie into productivity?
Well, it's becoming more and more recognized for its cognitive benefits. Studies have shown that even just a few minutes of meditation every day can really improve focus, reduce stress, even boost creativity.
Yeah.
It's not about clearing your mind completely. It's more about training your mind to be aware of your thoughts and emotions without getting carried away by them.
So instead of getting swept up in a bunch of worries or random ideas, I can learn to just notice them and let them pass by. That sounds really hard,
It can be.
but also super useful.
It is. And the more you practice, the better you get at just bringing your attention back to whatever you're working on.
Right. That makes sense. Especially with all the information overload these days.
Yeah.
We need all the help we can get to stay focused and productive. It all comes back to that idea of being intentional, right?
Yeah.
Choosing where we put our energy and attention instead of just zoning out.
That's it.
Yeah, it really does. It's about taking back control, isn't it? We talked about planning, sleep, food, mindfulness, dealing with distractions. Boosting productivity is about way more than just working harder or longer, right?
It's about working smarter, more intentionally. And it all starts with realizing that how we feel physically and mentally plays a huge role in how well we can perform.
So it's not about pushing ourselves to the limit.
Yeah.
It's about building a system that actually supports us in the long run.
Exactly. It's about building good habits that help us in, all parts of our lives, not just work.
And one of the best habits we can build is planning our day the night before.
Definitely.
We've covered the productivity part, but what about the bigger picture? How does this one thing actually change the way we experience our days?
Think about how often you feel like you're just reacting to whatever comes up.
Oh, all the time.
Putting out fires, trying to keep up.
Yep.
When you plan the night before, you switch from reacting to being proactive.
Oh, okay.
You're making conscious choices about how you spend your time and energy.
So instead of letting the day just happen to me,
Yeah.
I can actually shape it into what I want it to be.
Exactly. You become the architect of your day, designing it around your values and goals and all that.
That's such a powerful shift. It's like I'm taking charge of the story of my day instead of just being along for the ride.
That's a great way to put it. And that's what's really exciting. It's not just about checking things off the list.
Yeah.
It's about living with more purpose and feeling more fulfilled.
Wow, I never looked at it that way before.
Yeah.
So planning isn't just about getting things done. It's about making my life more meaningful.
Exactly.
This has been so eye-opening. I'm really feeling inspired to start planning my days the night before and see what happens.
I think you should. Start small. Maybe just focus on planning your workday at first.
Okay.
See how it feels, adjust as you go.
That's great advice. For our listeners who are ready to jump in, any final tips?
Don't overthink it. Just keep it simple. Jot down your top priorities before bed. Maybe visualize yourself tackling those tasks, feeling good about it.
And remember to be flexible. Life throws curveballs.
Always.
Sometimes things don't go as planned. Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive into the power of planning. Thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure. It's such a simple but powerful strategy that can really change how we work and live.
This is James Caro, and you've been listening to Zool Podcast, Shooting the Reality.
And I'm Emily Laura. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
We'll catch you in the next one.